In this session, we shall see the financial statement analysis. In this session, we are going to see the different types of financial statement analysis, the techniques, the advantages, the objectives of using this analysis, and the parties interested in this analysis. Before going to the depth of objectives and advantages, we shall see the very basic meaning of financial statement analysis. It is a systematic process. It is a systematic process of critical examination of financial information contained in the financial statements to understand and make decisions regarding the operations of the enterprise. I shall read the line again. It is a systematic process. So it is a scientific process wherein it is carried out systematically. Every step we are going to make an analysis. So it is a detailed analysis wherein it is carried on in a very systematic manner. It is a critical examination. Before going to the critical examination, I shall say the meaning of examination. Examination means disseminating the information of the financial statements. We are going to analyze the financial statements, namely trading P&L account and balance sheet, and we are going to disseminate the figures, and we are going to study about the relationship between the figures. So that is your examination. What is this critical examination? Critical examination means the perspectives of analyzing, the views of analyzing may differ from person to person. So we are going to have a critical examination by the managers or by the top management personnel of an enterprise. So wherever this examination is made in a very analytical manner. That is why it is called as critical examination of financial information contained in financial statements. As we already said, financial statements is trading P&L and balance sheet. To understand, so we are going to first observe, we are going to first get the information from the financial statements. That is understanding the financial information and making decisions regarding the operations of the enterprise. We are going to decide based on this analysis. The word analysis gives the meaning of the relationship between two figures, maybe between net sales and profit, or your stock turnover, sales and your stock, or debtors turnover, or your creditors turnover. So we are going to study the relationship between two figures. What does this interpretation means? Interpretation means inferring, gathering information from the analysis. Simply calculating the figures and keeping it in the books is not enough. We have to interpret. We have to find out what is actually the figure says. So that is called as the interpretation. Based on this analysis and interpretation, the management is going to take decisions. What are all the managerial decisions that are taken by this analysis? So they may decide whether to increase the sales or not, whether to increase your stock turnover or not. So these decisions will be taken by the management. So based on your past analysis we mean the analysis of your past information. So the management is going to decide regarding the operations. Operations is the day-to-day operations of an organization. So we repeat again, it is a systematic process of critical examination of financial information contained in the financial statements to understand and make decisions regarding the operations of the enterprise. So any financial statement analysis is a systematic way, and again it is a critical examination of the financial statements. So when this analysis and interpretation are made, the decisions will be taken only based on analysis and interpretation. It is a process of division, establishing relationships and interpretation thereof to understand the working and financial position of the business. Both operating and the financial position is studied. So what is your operations of your business, day-to-day operations of your business? That is your long term, short term, and also the long term, namely the financial position of the business. So this financial statement is highly useful to any top management to take the decisions. Let us now see the definitions given by two famous persons. First one is Mayer. Financial statement analysis is largely a study of relationships among various financial factors So they are going to study the relationship between various financial factors, anything that is expressed in terms of monetary figures in a business as disclosed by a single set of statements. So disclosed woman, whatever that is revealed by the financial statements, namely P&L account and balance sheet, and study of trends of these factors. So we are going to study the trends of these factors. Trends woman, what is the actual increase or decrease, or neither a decrease nor a increase. So this trends will be studied as shown in the series of statements. Series of statements means it is a statement over a period of time. It may be for 5 years or it may be for a decade. Another definition given by Kennedy and Muller. The analysis and interpretation of financial statements are an attempt to determine the significance and meaning of financial statement data so that forecasts may be made of the prospects of future earnings. So based on analysis, we can forecast the future. So based on your sales figures, based on your profit figures, we can easily forecast what should be our profit percentage in the future. It may be in the coming year or it may be for the forthcoming quarter, etc. Whatever may be the period you are going to decide. Ability to pay interest and debt maturities. So the level of profit you earn must decide the ability of the organization to pay the debt and to pay the interest on your debt. So this profitability of an organization must decide how many times the organization is able to cover its interest and cover its principal of your long-term liabilities. It may be taken both as current and your long-term. I have said for long-term, this applies for the current liability also. And the profitability is also studied. What is a sound dividend policy? So the shareholders, being the real owners of the enterprise, must get a share of profit from the operations of the enterprise. So this share of profit is called as dividend. So what is the rate of dividend that is to be declared to the shareholders? That will be decided based on your profitability and also your operations of the enterprise. So this is the definition given by Mayer and Kennedy Muller. I'll repeat the definition given by Muller. Analysis and interpretation of financial statements is an attempt to determine the significance and meaning of financial statement data. So significance woman, how far this is important to an organization and how far this financial statement means, what is the purpose it gives, so that the forecast may be made of the prospects of future earnings. So the future earnings is forecasted here regarding the ability to pay the interest and the debt maturities taken as current and also your long term, and profitability and your sound decision policy, dividend policy. So we are going to take the investment decisions, financing decisions and dividend decisions, which are said to be the major objectives of any financial management in an organization. We shall now see the techniques of financial statement analysis. We have 6 main techniques. First one is comparative statements, second one is common size statements, third one is percentages, trend percentages, then ratio analysis, fund flow statement and cash flow statement. So these are the 6 main analysis that is made with the financial statements. We shall see each and every analysis in a bird's eye view. Comparative statements. This comparative statements is said to be a horizontal analysis wherein we are going to take up sales over the years or profit over the years or operating cost over the years. So it is a horizontal statement and we are going to prepare a statement wherein the current year is compared with your previous year and we are going to find out what is the increase or decrease over the previous year and also the percentage of increase or decrease over the previous year. See to it, the first step is comparative study of components of financial statements of 2 or more years of the enterprise itself. So for the same enterprise, we are going to take the financial statements of 2 or more years. The amounts of 2 or more years are placed side by side and change in the amounts in absolute and also in percentage terms. Absolute moment in terms of rupees. What is the exact change? Assume if your sales is 40 lakhs in the previous year, now it is 42 lakhs. So we have an increase of 2 lakhs. So we will write plus 2 lakhs in your first column in absolute terms. Then percentage to facilitate the comparison. How this percentage is calculated? The change in your sales divided by the previous year's sales into 100. That is your percentage. So when we are going to calculate this percentage, we are able to study what is the rate of increase that has been made. Say in our example, it is 40 lakhs and 42 lakhs. So 2 lakhs divided by 40 lakhs. So it will be 1 by 20. So it will, we say that 1 by 20 times, that is 5% we have increased over the last year. So this 5% increase is said to be the percentage of increase over the previous year. So we can come to the decision that the sales have increased by 5%. So this is the way in which the comparative statements are prepared. Again, the same way, the balance sheet is also prepared in the same manner. That is, the current assets are compared, the fixed assets are compared, current liabilities, fixed liabilities. So every item is compared with your previous year. Only 2 years will be compared, and we are going to calculate your percentages. Assume when we are comparing our current year with your previous year, we have a 5% increase. Now I am going to compare it with your, the year before your previous year. So suppose if the increase is 2% only. So in the first year we have a 2% increase, in the second year we have a 5% increase. So we have a increasing rate of increase. That is, 2% is increased to 5%. So from 0 to 2 it is 2, 2 to 5 it is 3%. The next year I must have 9% or 10%. Only then the rate of increase will be increasing, say by 2 or 3 or 4. So the rate of increase must increase. First year is 2%, next year is 5%, next year I must have 9%. So first year I have increased by 3%, next year I have increased by 4%. So next year I must increase by 5%. So 9 plus 5 I must have 14%. So in this way we are going to analyze it. So simply increase is not enough. The increase must be in a increasing rate. Suppose if the increase is at a decreasing rate, we should take care of that situation. At times the increase will also be at a constant rate. So we have to find out whether the rate of increase is at an increasing rate or at a decreasing rate or at a constant rate. So based on this, the decisions will be taken. As we already said, this analysis will help the managers to decide what to do in the future. So in this way we are calculating this comparative statements. So the comparative statements is said to be a horizontal analysis wherein these as figures are compared with your previous years. So balance sheet and P&L account are prepared in the form of comparative statements. So we will give the heading as comparative income statement, comparative balance sheet. So this comparative income statement and comparative balance sheet terminology means we have analyzed in a comparative manner and we have analyzed in a horizontal manner. Next we come to the common size statement. When we say common size statement, we are going to take the total of the balance sheet as 100. So this total is taken as 100 and every component is calculated with this total of the balance sheet as a percentage of your total. The same way when we come to income statement, the sales is taken as 100. So every expenses, operating expenses will be calculated in terms of sales. So this is the way in which the common size statement is calculated, prepared. This common size statement is said to be a vertical analysis wherein we are going to analyze the factors, we are going to analyze the figures in the same year itself. If sales is 100, what is your operating expense? If sales is 100, what is your net profit? So this is the way in which you are going to calculate an income statement. The same way, the total of the balance sheet is 100. What is your capital? What is your reserves and surplus? What is your long-term borrowings? The same way in case of your asset side, what is your furniture? What is your building? So the ratio of every item will be calculated to the total of the balance sheet. So this is said to be a vertical analysis. In the same manner, we are going to calculate over the years. See to it. Individual items of financial statements of 2 or more years are placed side by side and thereafter converted to percentage taking a common base. What is that common base? In terms of your income statement, it will be sales. In terms of your balance sheet, it is said to be the total. So common base is normally taken as total of assets and liabilities in case of your balance sheet and net sales in case of your profit and loss account. Again, we are going to give the name as common size income statement and common size balance sheet. So So the word common size shows that vertical analysis has been made. So common base is assumed to be 100. And all the figures are expressed as a percentage of common base. So this analysis helps. Say for example, in the last year, to the total of sales, our operating expenses are 20%. So in the current year, to the sales, the operating expenses is 22%. That means that we have increased our operating expenses. When you have increased your operating expenses, you must go back to the sales and find out whether the sales have increased or not. If the sales have increased and correspondingly we have an increase in the operating cost, it is acceptable. Suppose if the sales are said to be constant and the operating costs have been increased, something has been done. So if the control over the cost has not been done on the organization. Suppose if the cost decreases with the same sales, we say that it is cost effective. So this is the way in which the interpretation will be made in the common size statements. Next we can come to the trend percentages. The trend percentages is also a vertical analysis wherein we are going to take the percentages of every item to the common base year. Again we are going to take 2 or more years, either it may be a balance sheet or either it may be an income statement, and we are going to take the first year as the base and we are going to calculate all the items in the forthcoming years to the common base. Normally when we do the problems, we will take the first year as a common base. But when we come to the corporates, they will not take the first year as base. They will take a year wherein it is neither a boom year nor a depression year. Boom year here I mean the year in which we have an increased production and we have an increased sales, increased opportunities for your advancement. Everything will be flourishing in terms of boom period. But in case of your depression period, it will be reversed. We don't have the much of production and we have a low production and we have a low productivity and we have the low employment opportunities, low sales. So these two periods are said to be two extremes. So we should not take a year which is said to be a boom year or which is said to be a depression year. That will not form a common base. That will not be a benchmarking year. So we have to take a year in which it is neither boom nor a depression. It should be an average year and the other years will be compared with the common base. So when we are going to compare with the common base, we are able to say whether the current sales have increased over the base or whether the current sales have decreased over the base. As I have already said, the increase or decrease, the absolute increase or decrease or no change is not a matter. We are going to say what is the rate of increase and what is the rate of decrease. That matters for a decision making. We shall come to the trend percentages again. Individual items in financial statements for 2 or more periods are placed side by side and converted into a percentage taking a base year. The period may be month or a quarter or years depending on the circumstances. So we can take it as a monthly figure or it may be a half-yearly figure or it may be a quarterly figure or it may be a yearly figure. Base period should be neither a boom year nor a depression year. Normally for the purpose of calculation, we take the first period as a base. What is the main aim of preparing this trend percentages? It is to analyze the amount of change and percentage of change from one period to the another, that is over a period of time. So when we are going to compare it over the period, it may be even for decades. We can go for a long-term period also. Based on this long-term period, we can go to the extrapolation of your future period. As we have the time series in your statistical analysis, we can go for your extrapolation. Extrapolation moment, we can extrapolate to the future period. We can estimate it to the future period. Even interpolation is possible. Interpolation is going back to your past periods and we go for your postmortem analysis of your financial statements and find out why the decrease has been arrived, why the increase has been arrived. So we can find out the reasons for the increase or reasons for the decrease and any reasons which are not favorable to the management can be eliminated and you can go for your cost effectiveness and the increased productivity in the future period. So for decision making also, this trend percentages is highly useful to the management. Next we come to the ratio analysis. Ratio analysis here is made mainly to have the solvency position, profitability position and the turnovers of your financial information. So this management has a very useful technique in its hand named as ratio analysis. This ratio analysis helps the management to study about the long-term solvency, short-term solvency, operational efficiency, the ability to pay the dividend, the ability to pay the interest on your debentures or interest on your long-term borrowings, what is the efficiency of the usage of proprietary funds, namely the shareholders funds, and what is the turnover of your stock, what is the turnover of your debtors, creditors, and what is the cost that you have controlled, that is operating ratio, what is your profit before interest and before tax, etc. So all these analysis can be made with your ratio analysis. It is an arithmetical expression of your relationship between two related or interdependent components of financial statements of an accounting period. It is a quantitative method of analyzing liquidity, solvency, operational efficiency and profitability of the company. So it deals with all the dimensions of an enterprise. It deals with the liquidity position. Liquidity position says about your ability to circulate your own capital for a very short period. So whether you are able to pay the short-term liabilities within a month or within a fortnight. Solvency can be for a short-term solvency or a long-term solvency. Again, solvency here, women, all your assets must be more than the liabilities. You must have the asset backing to pay off your liabilities. Operational efficiency is how far your inputs are used. That it may be material or it may be machine power or it may be manpower or it may be the finance, whatever may be the input. How far the input has been efficiently utilized in an organization. That shows your operational efficiency. Profitability is what is the rate of profit you are able to earn in the organization. It may be the net profit or it may be earning before interest and tax or it may be earning after tax, and what is the dividend that you are going to pay the shareholders, what is the retaining profit you have made, that is the retention ratio, how far the retained profits are deployed in an organization, how you are able to trace your profit in the organization, how you are able to trace your investment in the organization to avoid your overcapitalization, to avoid your undercapitalization. So all these factors can be decided based on your profitability of the company. Process of computing, determining and presenting the relationship in terms of items and group of items in the financial statements. So the ratios can be calculated taking into account only the profit and loss account or only the balance sheet. We take it as P&L ratios and balance sheet ratios. When you are going to study about the gross profit ratio, we are going to take gross profit and sales. When you are going to take net profit ratio, it is net profit and sales. When you are going to take operating ratio, we are going to take only the P&L account. So this shows your profit and loss account ratios. At times we go for your balance sheet ratios like debt equity ratio, proprietary ratio, etc. At times we go for your combination of P&L account and balance sheet. So that will be the ratios that has been calculated regarding the turnovers. Asset turnover ratio, and we have the shareholders turnover ratio, shareholders funds turnover ratio, and ROI, ROE, etc. So all these ratios will take into account the balance sheet and your profit and loss account. So this ratio analysis again is said to be a highly useful technique in the hands of management to decide about the matters in all aspects regarding liquidity, solvency, operational efficiency and profitability of the company. Next comes the fund flow statement. Fund flow statement normally says about the changes of funds in the organization. Funds means cash and cash equivalents. All your current assets are taken as cash equivalents, and all your current liabilities are taken as cash equivalents. Normally the working capital, that is the difference between your current assets and current liabilities, that is your net working capital, is said to be the major decision making power or decision making factor for deciding your operational efficiency. This working capital is said to be the economic barometer of any organization. If your working capital is said to be satisfactory, that is your current assets are more than your current liabilities, that means that you have a total satisfactory liquidity position to pay off your short term liabilities. Suppose your current liabilities are more than the current assets. working capital condition is said to be unfavorable and the organization may fail or sometimes find it difficult to pay off the short-term liabilities. So this fund flow position, that is the flow of your funds, flow of your working capital, is said to be more important for an organization. Say for example, today run the day-to-day operations of the business enterprise. You have to pay the salaries, you have to pay the wages, rent, electricity. So all your monthly expenses have to be paid by the organization. So to pay off this all the monthly expenses, what is your current asset backing? What is your asset backing for pay off your expenses? Suppose if you are delaying the payments, if you have a lag in the payments, that will affect your goodwill of the organization. Suppose if the salary is not paid properly, if your electricity bill is not paid properly, that will hinder your production, that will hinder your normal working condition of the organization. So you may result in bottlenecks. The bottlenecks may be from the manpower, or it may be from the machine power, or it may be from the financing side, etc. So this working capital is said to be the major determinant for your effective running of an enterprise. So this working capital position is revealed by the fund flow statement. It is prepared to analyze the causes for the changes in the financial position between two different balance sheet dates. So we are going to compare two dates of the balance sheet and we are going to find out what are the basic causes for the changes. And it shows the inflow and outflow of funds. This inflow is called as sources, outflow is called as applications. So sources are the areas from which you have raised your finance. Applications is the deployment of your finance. Wherever you have utilized your finance, what are all the areas in which you have invested your finance, whether these investments can be taken back or not, what is the return on your investment or why. So this is to be decided in the fund flow statement. It is prepared to analyze the changes in the working capital position of a company for a period. So we are going to take it for a particular period. Fund refers to the money used in the financing of day-to-day operations of the enterprise. As we already told, what are all the expenses to be made in the day-to-day operations and what are all the revenues you are going to get it from your day-to-day operations. Then flow of funds refers to the change in the economic resources. So we have a change in your economic resources, namely from one asset to another asset. Here I want to specify one point. What is flow of funds? Flow of funds must be from your fixed to current. That is said to be the flow of funds. If you have any change in the current asset and current liability, say for example the creditors paid, the debtors are collected, bills payable paid, bills receivable collected. So this will not amount to the flow of funds. Issue of debentures for cash. Now we have a fixed liability and a current asset. This is flow of cash, flow of funds. Issue of shares for cash, issue of debentures for cash, raising of your long-term borrowings. So these will affect your flow of funds. Now fixed assets sold, any machinery sold or furniture sold, that will have a flow of funds. Purchased machinery, purchased furniture, this will also amount a flow of cash. So we have a combination of a fixed and a current. So any transaction between fixed asset and a fixed liability, say issue of shares for consideration other than cash, so that will not amount to flow of funds. Issue of shares for cash will amount to the flow of funds. So ultimately I want to specify, when you have a combination of fixed and a current, we have a flow of funds. Having a transaction within the fixed, within the current will not constitute a flow of funds. So it is a change in the economic resources from one asset to another asset or from one liability to the another. Next comes the cash flow statement. Cash flow statement reveals the exact cash position in the company. What is actual cash in the company? It may be a borrowed cash or it may be it is a own cash. So this cash flow statement consists of three main activities, namely operating activities, financing activities and investing activities. When we say operating activities, it deals with the operations of the enterprise. That is all your actions regarding your purchases and sales of the goods and services. Financing activities were the activities involved for the raising of finance. What are all the areas from which you have sources or areas from which you have raised your finance? Investing activities is, as we already said, it is a deployment of your finance. So it summarizes the inflow and outflow of cash. Inflow and outflow of cash and cash equivalents during a particular period. It depicts the cash management of the company. What is the source and what is its utilization? So source and utilizations are specified here. It acts as a link between the income statement and balance sheet by showing the cash flows. What is the real cash flow? What is the real cash inflow and your cash outflow? It is classified as operating, investing and financing activities. This is framed as per the accounting standards 3. So these are all the techniques of financial statement analysis. We come to the comparative, common size, trend percentages, fund flow statement, cash flow statement and ratio analysis. Now we shall see what are all the types of financial statement analysis. Types of financial statement analysis can be studied in two manner. First one is based on modus operandi and based on your users. Now we shall see what is based on users. First one is external analysis, second one is internal analysis. External analysis means the persons who are externally situated, the stakeholders who are externally situated, namely the investors, the banks, financial institutions, creditors, consumers, government and society. So these persons will not have an access to the financial information except published information. They cannot have any other information from the company. So for this purpose we are making an analysis. So we are giving an interpreted results to the outsiders. Next is internal analysis. Internal analysis is normally made by the management to make decisions. As we already said, it will study about your liquidity, profitability and solvency of your organization. Based on modus operandi. Modus operandi, women, it is a method of operation, how we are going to operate. First one is your horizontal analysis. It is otherwise called as dynamic analysis. Comparative statements are said to be the horizontal analysis. So over the years, the same figure is analyzed. So that is your horizontal analysis. Conducted to review and analyze the financial statements for a number of years. So you can conduct it for any number of years. It is used for long-term analysis. Comparative statements and trend percentages are said to be the horizontal analysis. Even the trend percentages can be calculated for your vertical also. We can calculate it based on your percentages. Next is vertical and static analysis. We have the ratio analysis and common size analysis based on your static analysis. That is a vertical analysis. For the same year, you are going to analyze your financial information. So
next comes the parties interested in financial analysis. Who are the persons who are really interested in financial statement analysis? First is said to be the management. This management is using the financial statement analysis mainly to ascertain the segment-wise efficiency of the business. Segment-wise efficiency here means it may be department-wise or it may be section-wise or product-wise or area-wise, whatever may be the basis of your segmentation. Moreover, it helps them in decision making as well as in controlling and self-evaluation. So the decision making can be easily taken and the controlling of your own cost and your expenses can be made and it can be self-evaluated. The management can evaluate themselves about their efficiency. Next comes the employees and trade unions. Normally the employees are interested in your bonus and your salary and which will depend upon the profitability of the firm. And trade unions are also said to be the representative of the employees and they will also be interested in the profitability of the organization. Employees are interested in their welfare, better emoluments, bonus, better working conditions and security of their jobs. These are always guaranteed by the profitability of the organization. So they are always interested in profitability, operating sustainability and financial strength of the business. Trade unions are also interested in financial analysis because the degree of profitability helps them in negotiating and entering into wage agreements with the employers. Next comes the owners or the investors, namely the shareholders. These shareholders are interested in their wealth maximization and safety of their own principal. So because they are investing their own savings in the enterprise, they are interested in the profitability and safety of their investment and they like to know whether the business is profitable has a growth potential and its progress is on your sound lines, whether the progress is having an increasing trend in the future. This growth potential of the business helps in the appreciation of their investment. As we already said, the appreciation of the investment says about your wealth maximization principle. Next comes the potential investors. Potential investors are those persons who are not the current investors, but where they are watching about the stock price movements and they want to invest in the share prices of the companies. They are interested to know about the present profitability and financial position as well as the prospects to determine whether to invest it in future or not. So, they are called as potential investors. The next comes the suppliers or the creditors. These suppliers or creditors, as we already said, they are interested in the short-term solvency of the firm and the ability to meet its short-term liabilities. Short-term solvency of the firm can be determined with the help of financial statement analysis. Based on this, they will allow the credit to the enterprise or they will not allow it, and this decision can be made by the creditors. The next comes the commercial bankers and the lenders. They are interested in the servicing of their loans. Servicing of the loans women, the interest payments, debt service. That is a regular payment of your interest and repayment of the principal on the due dates. They are interested in long-term and short-term solvency because they want to know about the ability of the firm to repay the repay the principal and the interest on their principal. The next comes the tax authorities. The tax authorities always ensure proper assessment of your tax liabilities and the proper payment of your taxes from time to time. The researchers. The researchers are very much interested in the profitability, growth, financial position and prospects of the business or an industry. They are interested in analyzing the data of different aspects, namely the purchases, sales, operating costs and other items. Say they want to know about the operating expenses ratio, they want to know the operating ratio, they want to know the GP ratio and they want to know about their solvency ratios, etc. So, these things can be easily studied through this financial statement analysis. Next comes the customers. They are interested in the information about the continuance of an enterprise, especially when they have a long-term involvement or dependent on an enterprise. So, they want to be loyal to the enterprise and they want to be the organization to live longer, so to stay longer. So, they are interested in their own profitability of the organization. The last comes the financial statements analysis limitations. The first one is a historical analysis. As we already said, all the financial statement analysis is made only based on the financial records which have already been prepared. So, this is called as a historical analysis. So, whatever the analysis is made, that is made on the happenings of their past events. So, it will not reflect the future. We do not have an expectation in the future. We want to forecast it in the future by way of your time series analysis and your extrapolation techniques. The persons like shareholders, investors are very much interested in knowing the likely position in future, but this is not revealed in your financial statement analysis. The next is ignores your price level changes. All your financial statements are maintained at your cost prices and we do not include the price level changes. Suppose if you want to have the price level changes to be included in your financial statement analysis, we want to include the indexing and you have to use the indexing technique and you want to increase your prices as such according to the various indices. Price level changes and purchasing power of money are inversely related. A change in the price level makes the analysis of financial statements of different accounting years invalid because accounting records ignore the change in the value of money. Next is the qualitative aspect. The qualitative aspect is totally ignored. We take only the quantitative aspects on your financial aspects. The qualitative aspects, namely the quality of the management, the ability of the staff, the public relations of your organization, the brand image they have, the brand loyalty they have gained, all these things are not revealed in your financial statement analysis. The next comes suffers from the limitations of your financial statements. Suppose if you have any errors in preparing the financial statements, then that will be carried on to the analysis also. So, whatever shortfalls or your drawbacks of your financial statements preparation will lead to the analysis also. It is not free from bias. So, a bias among the personal prejudice, whatever the decisions that are taken, that will be influenced by the prejudice. In many situations, the accountant has to make a choice out of the alternatives available. that is the method of inventory valuation, method of depreciation, method of issuing your materials, etc. So whatever the changes we have made, that is relates to the subjectivity, and this is inherent in your personal judgment, and the financial statements are not free from any bias. Next comes the variations in accounting practices. So in case of your inter-firm comparison, it is necessary that the accounting practices followed by the firms do not vary significantly. Suppose if it varies, the very basic motive of preparing your analysis is defeated. Next is window dressing. Window dressing represents the better financial position, that is all your understating of your liabilities and overstating of all assets. So which is said to be the manipulation of your books of accounts. In this case, the financial analysis may give a false idea. Next comes the identified symptoms. Any symptoms or problems will not offer any diagnosis. Say for example, any shortage in the material supply, any problems in your labor, or any power problems will not be revealed in your financial statements. So the management will look into the remedy to rectify those problems which is not revealed in your financial statement analysis. So these are all the various steps in preparing a financial statement analysis. We have the parties interested in the financial statement analysis and your uses and your limitations. Thank you.